Hi there young jugglers, it's Babs here from MyFieryPhoenix, and today I'm going to be talking you through how to create this beautiful star stitch. I'm calling it a star stitch because it has inspired me to create a starburst shawl, so there will be a pattern for that coming up shortly. Even if you're not using that design for now, you may well need to know how to create this starburst stitch. So if you're interested in that, I've got a little bit of blather first, but if not, I'll put a link, I'll put a graphic up somewhere to show you the time you need to jump ahead to, where I actually get down to the nitty-gritty of this particular stitch. If you want to jump on my blather, go there now. If you want to stick around for a little bit, I've got some exciting news. I think it's exciting. I have just launched my dragon scale scarf into the Ravelry store. It's a beautiful, beautiful scarf. And while it's currently in test knit, it is 50% off the list price. So I will pop a link in the description below, and if you are interested in that, please go and have a look at it. Any likes, any projects, any photos, any comments would be gratefully received on the Ravelry store. Yes, so this is my very first pattern. There are other designs coming along using the dragon scale stitch. There will be a cowl, there will be an enormous shawl which is going to have wings coming out of it. It's beautiful. Hats and fingerless gloves as well. So that's just from one stitch, and as I say, I've got another design coming up using this particular starburst stitch, which knitting this as a test knit for a colleague of mine has inspired me to create a starburst shawl. So I'm looking forward to that, but that will be sometime later in the year. If you're interested in becoming a test knitter, I'll put a link down below to the Ravelry forum, so you can express any interest that you have in test knitting any of my designs. There's a great long list of all the requirements and so forth for test knitters. It's not really that onerous a task, and you get a free pattern. And also, I will now be offering anybody who signs up to my newsletter the current beta version of the latest design that I'm working on for knitwear, whether that is a scarf, a shawl, a garment, whether a hat or a cardigan or throw, poncho. There's all sorts of stuff in the works, and just to keep it varied, when you sign up to my newsletter, you will receive a copy of the current beta test for free, as a thank you, because I do value anybody who signs up to my newsletter. That is massively appreciated. And finally, there is a starting to knit group. In the way that we have a starting to sew group, there is now a starting to knit group on Facebook, and again I will pop the link to that below. So hopefully, if you have sat there through my blather, thank you very much, I appreciate that. And now on to showing you how to do this rather delightful starburst stitch. So here we are looking at the actual detail of the row construction, and I have to apologise, Sophie's in the back garden chasing birds, which means there may well be quite a bit of barking. If it's too much, I'll re-record separately. What we're going to be doing is creating this starburst stitch, which is actually created with 5 long stitches which are then bound. So you create the long stitches on one row, which you can see here, and then you bind them on the row coming back the other direction. So what I'll do is I will show you how to create the 5 long stitches, and then when I reach the end of my row I will turn around, I will start recording again, and I will show you how to bind the stitches. I will also then show you the green knitting and just what it looks like when you then go to pick up the top of the star on the next row of just plain knit. So hopefully, whilst that might sound a little bit OTT, it will take you through the entire process, from creating the actual long petals, binding off, and then moving on to the flat line above, so that the whole thing is enclosed. And in between each starburst or flower, you'll see that there is a single knit. So you'll have 5 stitches and a single knit as you create each one of these starbursts. So I've already done the single knit here, and what we're going to do, whilst I'm trying to do this around the camera, so that might be a little bit interesting, is you start to knit and then you wrap 1, 2, 3 times round. You can see the 3 there, hopefully against the dark wood of the needles here, and then knit them all through as one stitch. So that's 1, and we're going to do that 5 times. So 1, 2, 3 wraps, and that's 2. 1, 2, 3 wraps for 3. 1, 2, 3 wraps for 4. 1, 2, 3 wraps for 5, and then we have a single knit to separate the starbursts. So what you can see is we have a single stitch here, and for all the others there's actually a leading stitch, 1, 2, 3, a leading piece of yarn which allows you to count 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this is the 5th. So if you're a bit confused as to how many stitches you've how many stitches you've wrapped, then you can use this slightly sticking out stitch or slightly sticking out edge to count them up. So here we can see you've got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then a single. So I'll just go through and do that at regular speed without me counting it through, just so that you can see it in action, as it were. And then I will stop recording for a while, so I've got a few more to do, and then when I get to the end I will show you how to wrap them. So here we go again. Wrap it around 3 times and then through the entire knit stitch. A single knit. So now I'm going to finish off, and then I will come back and show you what to do with this mass of wrapped yarn. So now we have a very solid looking tube of wrapped stitches, and what we're going to be doing is unwrapping those stitches 5 at a time and then tightly wrapping the stitches together. So that's a lot of wrapping and unwrapping, but hopefully I will now make that clear. So we're going to bring the yarn to the front, and we're going to unpick or open out these stitches. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we stop because we have just a single knit by itself, which is the spacer in between. So here we have 5 long stitches, and we are going to literally wrap the yarn around them, and we're going to transfer the stitches from the right needle to the left, wrap, right needle, left, wrap, and then back onto the right needle. So we will take all 5 onto the left, bring the yarn around back to the front of the work, and then pop these onto the right needle, making sure that we're pulling this really tightly. Now the tighter that you can get this, the nicer your starburst or flower will look. And then we're going to, so we've wrapped that once, so we're now going to wrap it a second time. And I'll just move this up so that it's close to the centre, and then I pull this really tight. I generally wrap it around my finger to get extra tension on there, and then we'll bring the yarn round to the front, and this is where I put the extra tension in, so I can keep that nice and tight as I knit a single stitch, again keeping that really tight, so that now you can see we have the 5 stitches across the top. Drop my hand down into shot. We have the 5 stitches across the top and then a single knit. We bring our yarn to the back again, or to the front. I say back because this is the back of the the garment, but we're bringing it to the front of the needle so it's as near to us as we can get it. And then we are going to open out 5 more stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So there we have our 5 long stitches, and we roll the yarn around, move from one needle to the other, and bring the yarn back towards us. So we've got that tied tightly, and then we do it a second time to make sure everything is secure, and bring the yarn back towards us again. This time we're going to leave the stitches on the right hand needle, really pull that tight, take the yarn round to the front. As I say, I increase the tension to make sure that stays as tight as possible as I knit this last stitch, and then move on to continue creating these all the way along. So here we are at the final stage, and as you can see we have these nice little starbursts all individually wrapped now, and I'm simply going to knit across the top and take each of these individual strands as a standard stitch. So we just knit as we would normally, which I'm going to try and keep in frame, which I always seem to struggle with. And as we're knitting through each of these long loops, we are in actual fact framing the stars. Now what I tend to do is when I come to the single stitch I stop and just adjust the wrap so that it actually is falling in the centre of the starburst, and if I do that as I go with each individual burst, sorry, I'm not sure what happened there, and as I go with each individual burst, it means that I haven't missed any. Whereas if I leave them to the end of the row or to the end of the garment, then I may indeed find that I've got some rather strangely shaped starbursts. So I find that it actually saves an awful lot of time by doing it as I go. So here we are again, and it's very low to the bottom of that set of long stitches, so I simply drag it up with my nail to give us a centrally positioned starburst. And that really is all there is to creating this lovely little starburst stitch. So hopefully that's helped you. So I hope that that has now given you an insight into the best way to create your little starbursts. And it, as I say, it is a fairly straightforward process that you can just really get into. I find myself counting up to 10 when I should be counting up to 5 because I just get into doing the wraps so much. However, that's just my silly mistake, and hopefully you'll be able to focus more than I did. So hopefully this has helped you, and if it has, please give the video a thumbs up, share it around. Pop on over to have a look at the Ravelry store for me, that would be greatly appreciated, and why not join the Starting to Knit group on Facebook. If any of that's of interest to you, that is great. If you're already a subscriber, thank you very, very much. If not, hi there, maybe you'd consider becoming a subscriber, in which case click the red button and join us for future tutorials. I will stop saying and I'll see you again. Bye for now.